So Florida State wins the game 35-32 in a game really that Oklahoma played, I think, about as well as you would have expected Oklahoma to play with everybody that they had that was either had already hit the transfer portal or had opted um, out of this game and was unavailable. And then you had some injuries. Oklahoma on the offensive side of the ball going in without four of your regular starters on the offensive line, and then really kind of a patchwork offensive line. And then unfortunately Jacob Sexton gets hurt really early, first series of the game, first couple of plays of the game, and then then they had to go a little bit deeper than they even planned on. So let's go through kind of start on the offensive side of the ball and then work our way defensively, going over some stats and just kind of my synopsis on how and on how they played. Gabriel, 14 of 24, 243 yards, the one touchdown and no interceptions. I think just about what we've seen from Gabriel this year. Nothing incredibly flashy. I think they took the ball out of his hands a lot in the second half. Maybe not necessarily due to how he played, but more so just about their ability to just kind of drop back and pass, as because Florida State was getting after Oklahoma's offensive line, particularly there in the second half. Um, but I think one of the things that you saw is the youth movement in Oklahoma's backfield without Eric Gray, Javante Barnes, and Gavin Sawchuk got a majority of the carries, 42 of the 60 carries overall for Oklahoma. Javante Barnes, 27 carries for 108 yards, one touchdown there late in the game. Gavin Sawchuk, 15 carries for 100 yards and a touchdown, and had another one called back because of a Savion Byrd holding penalty in the red zone earlier in the second half. So both of those kids ran the ball extremely well. And I think you've got to be really excited about what this running back room looks like next year. With particularly, you've got Gavin Sawchuk, Javante Barnes, and then Marcus Major as well. You've got some other folks, but those are the three guys that you look at coming into the season that are going to be your better ball players from a running back perspective. Then when you look at the receiving, Marvin Mims, two catches for 77 yards. Jalil Farouk, 4 for 59. In the touchdown that he had early in the game. Braden Willis, 4 for 58. Drake Stoops, 2 for 27. LV Bunkley Shelton got a catch, 1 for 14 yards. And so, again, some of the youth there that you're excited about if you're an Oklahoma fan. Jalil Farouk played really, really well. Has really kind of come on as a really good receiver for Oklahoma. But there's a couple of other ones that really didn't get a whole lot of time. So I think you're awaiting the decision from Marvin Mims. Does he end up going pro, or staying here? I've heard a couple of different things. I think it's probably 50-50 at this point. I've heard some leaning towards actually coming back based on the draft grade that he got. So we'll see. That's going to be a big benefit to Oklahoma's receiving core if he's able to come back with some youngsters like Jaden Gibson, Nick Anderson, that might have an opportunity to play a little bit more. Gavin Freeman as well, and then also with the news of Drake Stoops coming back, you've got a pretty good looking receiving core coming back next year. And then obviously Dylan Gabriel is still up in the air whether or not he will come back. At times I've defended him. At times, I've got on him a little bit. I don't think, and it'll be interesting if he does come back, what that quarterback competition looks like between him and Jackson Arnold. But from some of the things I've heard, wouldn't really be surprised either way. Wouldn't be surprised if he comes back, but obviously wouldn't be surprised if he went ahead and left as well. So we'll see. We'll see how that materializes. Not sure that he is the guy that would be able to put Oklahoma back where they want to be offensively, and just really in terms of being an elite quarterback. I think he's a good, decent, serviceable quarterback, but I don't know if he's the guy that's really QB1 for the University of Oklahoma, if he's in that mold. And he's certainly not in the mold of a Baker Mayfield or a Kyler Murray or Jalen Hurts for that matter. But you know, what does that look like for the future of the quarterback position with Jackson Arnold coming in, and who knows what that quarterback room will look like come spring and certainly fall next year as well. So offensively, I think like I said, with everybody missing, patchwork offensive line, I think putting 32 points on the board, and then having an opportunity for some more, miss a field goal, obviously, and then just some situations that happened, turn the ball over there when Oklahoma was driving. Just a bad luck play against Gavin Sawchuk there, but really got to be excited about the running backs. I think that's the big takeaway for me on the offensive side of the ball. The running game was really good, considering 253 yards on the ground for the game for Oklahoma was really solid. Then moving over to the defensive side of the ball, Oklahoma, I think for a good 2.5 quarters, Oklahoma played pretty well on the defensive side of the ball. I think a couple of the guys that Jeffrey Johnson played really well from the defensive line perspective. Really kind of showed up more than he showed up all year. To be honest, just across the board. Maybe played a little bit more in terms of the number of snaps that he's played this year, but but certainly, you know, certainly played better. Isaiah Coe, another guy that played really well from his defensive tackle position. And then when you look at the linebacker, Danny Stutzman was everywhere, all over the field. He had probably his best game as an Oklahoma Sooner. I was trying to look for his stats right here. I don't know that I have them, but I was trying to find out exactly how many tackles he had. I would venture to say he had somewhere between 15, 17, 18 tackles. He was just everywhere. And then Billy Bowman played pretty decent from a secondary perspective. Woody Washington had a couple of plays, but other than that, it was really up and down. Um, gave up 418 yards to probably the best quarterback he's that Oklahoma has faced this year, in Jordan Travis, and really I would say more of probably the best team that Oklahoma has faced all year. So they held up pretty well for 2.5 quarters, and then Oklahoma, just wasn't, just from a depth perspective, from a talent perspective, where they're at right now with everything going on. They did not really just have what it takes to finish this game against a really good team. And so, like I said, lots of takeaways. I think Oklahoma played a lot better in this game than even I anticipated them playing. Down to the wire against a really good Florida State team, who a team is probably going to be primed for a run at an ACC title game, and maybe an outside playoff contender for 2023. So yeah, like I said, it's a disappointing end to the season, going 6-7. I don't think it's anyone in their wildest imagination would have assumed that this team would have went 6-7 this year.